can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. We reaching the top. We reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. We reaching the top. We reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'm never going back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
It's all about the final 2 rounds, a quick race here, all about pace, all about carrying that slipstream. This is a track which all these drivers know creates fantastic racing action. Watkins Glen, Cup layout, 43 laps worth of racing here today. The championship is all but decided at this moment in time. 106 points at the top for Madison Down, and with his rival nowhere to be seen tonight, it means that it is pretty much a formality. The red carpet will be rolled out for his 9th title here in Monday Night V8. It's Jake Sperry here in the commentary box, joined by Jake Burton alongside me here. And, well, Mr. Burton, it's a formality at this point. 106 points to chase down in a series where there's 4 drop rounds. It's difficult at the best of times. Qualifying currently underway. Jordan Caruso on the pole position right now at the moment. But times are coming in for those second laps. And Madison Down, who's second at the moment, is all but guaranteed here the championship.
Yeah, good evening, Sperry and everyone. If I may just briefly correct you there, Sperry, this will be actually Madison Down's 10th official iRacing V8 Supercar title. To get 10 championships in an official iRacing season is pretty well unprecedented. I don't think there's many other people on the service who have done that in any series, let alone the very competitive V8 Supercar series we see. Madison Down obviously coming off a really strong night with a 1-2 from Trans-Tasman Racing in the V8 Scops. So he'll be looking to back that up tonight, and as he currently sits P2 on the grid.
He certainly does, as Jake Maloney in car number 2 has jumped up to 4th position, as Rob Bowden will not improve on 15th place at the moment here in qualifying, but an amazing achievement nevertheless at this place. Some drivers still have that ability to set a second lap. Nathan Moore won't. He's gone straight on, but the one driver who can is the man who sat in 8th position at the moment. That is Wayne Burke here in the One Performance racing car, heading through the carousel. Such a tough corner because you want to put the power down here, Burton, a lot earlier than you expect to.
Yeah, for such a simple track, it's extremely challenging. It's not that technical, Sperry. It's, you know, I always call this the track the corner of it, the circuit of individual corners. It's pretty much just a straight, then a corner, then a straight everywhere. There's not a whole lot of complexes. But what that means is you have to make the most of the braking, the mid-corner speed, and the exit speed of every single corner around this track. And as Berkey finishes the lap off, looking to improve on his 8th flat, doesn't so, drops to an 8-2. That's still going to lock him in for P8 in this session. Quite a cold track, but those tyres wearing quite quickly.
And that is everybody then across the line in this 8-minute qualifying session. They get 2 laps, and with the laps going incredibly quickly, we can run you through how the grid will stack up. So Jordan Caruso for Evolution Racing Team. Some may argue at the moment he is carrying the team at this moment. He's on the pole with a 107.522. Madison Down will start alongside the champion, pretty much guaranteed at this moment in time. Sam Sutton starts from 3rd for One Performance with Jake Maloney in 4th, and a great qualifying by Kurt Stenberg starts him up in 5th position. 6th will go to Tom Freer in the Pursuit Sim Racing car. He's needed a good qualifying and he's finally found one, but not when he's needed it. Michael Taliancic, his teammate, starts 7th with Wayne Burke 8th. Adam Briggs, he starts 9th, and a surprisingly poor qualifying for Harley Haber. He should have been right up there in the front 2 rows, but ultimately he starts this one in 10th.
Yeah, and over the page we go, Sperry. A few names we haven't seen before tonight. I believe Corey Shepherd making his top split debut in P11th. Quite a good way to debut in P11 there in front of Corey Preston in P12th with Michael Rosenblatt, and a good qualifying result for Damien Johnston up in 14th with Rob Bowden 15th. Clint Smith, again, a little bit further up the grid than what we typically see. Awesome for him in P16 with Steve Jansen, Wayne Hewitt in 17th and 18th. Henry Michaela, a guy we haven't seen before either in the top split on a Monday night, in 19th, and Andrew Dyson rounding out the 20.
We have seen Henri Michaela a couple of times here in the top. I will correct you on that one, but 21st will go to Darren Lobb with Brian Borg there in 22nd. Nathan Moore starts 23rd with Jack Widders alongside Christian Smart, going from 25th with Greg Sharp. Then we've got Jose Miguel Galilea along with Samuel Collins, making up the 28 drivers here in this race. And this is probably going to be one of the highest strengths of fields we've seen all season here, as there will be 2 minutes to grid up, Burton, because of the fact that we have gone towards 5 splits here tonight, and that's going to be pretty impressive. It's the first time this season that they've gone to a 5th split.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, Sperry. I think there were a lot of drivers entered tonight, but in terms of our top end of town, we are missing a few big names. The likes of Richard Hampstead, for example, finished 2nd at V8 Scops last night, wasn't quite able to sneak in tonight. So I'm not sure how good the soft's going to be. So I think it's a good opportunity for some of these other guys that we don't typically see right up the pointy end. The likes of Jordan Caruso, the likes of Kurt Stenberg, the likes of Tom Freer, Michael Taliancic, to really make some gains. I say, Sperry, this is the best track in the V8 for racing. This place always puts on a good show, and we've got 43 laps worth of racing to put on a show.
And of course, the championship finale in 1 week's time, that could be the only track that could get yourself maybe close enough to these vehicles, that being Mount Panorama Bathurst. to end the season. Here's something to keep in mind, though, with these drivers at the front of the field. 3 Trans-Tasman cars inside the top 5 of qualifying. That's going to be a wall of red and white, which will try and push forward in this field. The ERT car of Jordan Caruso will have a lot of work underneath. Sam Sutton as well has got to charge hard, but don't count out drivers in the mid-pack. We can see incidents happen early on, especially up through the S's section. They have to be careful that things like that do not happen. It's a 43-lap race, which means 1 pit stop will be required to get themselves home and dry, compared to what was a longer race in Scops just one night on the iRacing eSports network, because there's some brilliant stuff that goes on. The road to 50,000 subscribers goes through right here. So 15 seconds to go. Everybody waiting. Everybody knows that you've got to be quick off the start, and if you're going to make positions around here, you have to do so in the early stages. There's the green flag. There's the drop. It's a poor start from Caruso, is it? No, it's pretty even. Taliancic ahead of Tom Freer as they head towards the 90 turn number 1. Madison Down's going to try and go the long way round here on Caruso, trying to get the run up the hill, and they will go side by side. Caruso with 2 wiggles, trying to correct some oversteer, ultimately losing out here as Madison Down storms around the outside and says, my race lead.
Yeah, and that's a real stamp of authority, isn't it? Madison Down, lots of confidence coming off last night, knowing he's got this championship pretty well locked down. Caruso's going to have a look to the outside as they head towards the bus stop, but Caruso has Sam Sutton to worry about as well, but they're going to go through a single file.
Single file for the time being. All cars going to go off. That's Harley Haber alongside with Corey Preston, I believe it is. They're going to concertina up, and Preston pushing wide. Adam Briggs going through the carousel. 3 wide, slip down the inside. Why don't you? Corey Shepherd getting the move. Absolutely fantastically done. But look at this. Adam Briggs going over towards the boot of the circuit to try and get the move done. Oh, how have you procured a gap like that? Down the inside, Corey Shepherd hang out to dry in the grass and loses 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 positions contact.
Yeah, those guys managed to straighten it out, though. It was, by the looks of it, Nathan Moore and Jack Widdus coming together, avoiding Corey Shepherd there. Real shame for Corey Shepherd. Awesome first lap on his debut in this Monday night.
Sam Sutton, he's in the fence. Sam Sutton's in the fence across the circuit, hits his teammate. There in Wayne Burke, and more contact as Briggs gets hit, and here comes the checkup. Pandemonium ensues. Haber's involved as well, and that's 5 cars out.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's happened there. It looks like Sam Sutton, I can't quite see it on my end.
Got turned by Caruso on the outside of the 90.
On the exit of turn 1, it looks like Sam Sutton had the inside line, maybe fed Jordan Caruso a wheel, and the two have come together, and Sam's hit that outside retaining wall hard and just bounced back across the circuit.
And cars like Steve Jansen getting caught. I believe that's Rob Bowden as well, who has caught up in a massive accident, as many drivers now will try and limp themselves home. Those are the pitfalls of this circuit. An incident happens at the front, it just goes on and on and on, with no place to escape there through the S's section, especially due to the fact that drivers know that they're going into a funnel. That's where incident just continues to go on, almost like you're stuck in a pinball machine. Down leads with Maloney now up in second and Caruso in third. Tom Freer looking to get past Kurt Stenberg for 4th.
Yeah, that hits very well. One of the legends of supercars in Australia, Peter Brock, once said that the best tracks have consequences, and that's why I love this place. It's so tight, the walls are so close, and it's so high speed, and that's the sort of incident that you see when it all goes wrong. But Kurt Stenberg sitting pretty in 4th, having one of the better races this season. Casting our mind back to Sebring last season. Last time he was in this sort of position, it all went wrong for him in the last 5 or so laps. So I really got my fingers crossed here for Stenny that he can keep that TTR Commodore up the front and get him a good result.
Well, we've got some great battling going on. Henri Michaela at the moment going to be chased down here by Christian Smart at the moment in the Gone Road car, looking to push on forward. You've got Brian Borg behind that, Jack Widdus, Corey Shepherd, Harley Haber trying to get going through with a little bit of damage. And there, of course, is Jose Miguel Galilea there just behind as well, trying to get onto the back of the pack. But at the moment, he's not quite there. But look at the run coming out to the final corner. This is going to be where the key is. Christian Smart's going to be looking to try and deal with all of what is in front, but we've got some great battling going on because Wayne Burke has found a way through on Tom Freer at the 90.
Yeah, classic passing move down there at that 90. Just throw it down the inside, late under brakes, park the bus on the exit, and then get the run up the hill. good classic move from Berkey. He's been around a long time. Awesome little move there. But looking back up to the front, last lap, quite interestingly, it was a 108.3 from Madison down and flats from Caruso and Maloney from behind. I think Madison clearly proved last night that he's the fastest guy around this track, but that toe is keeping those two in check.
Exactly, and that's the key. It's all about keeping in check at the moment. 4 drivers have hit the lane in terms of incidents now, 5 with Adam Briggs. So Andrew Dyson, Sam Sutton, Rob Bowden, Steve Janssen and Adam Briggs all out then of this race in the early stages. Maloney trying to chase down here, one Mr. Madison down, his teammate there with Jordan Caruso behind in 3rd position. Almost as a little bit of luggage here out on track as Madison down lost about half a tenth there, to gap exactly 7/10 as they crossed over the line. For the time being, Taliancic through on Freer now, who's starting to look backwards. Talk about gainers though in the early stages. Darren Lobb is up 11 places, Smart's up 12, and we're 3 wide off the exit as Haber runs wide. Oh, no, that's a terrible accident there. Jack Witter's caught out, Haber trying to get back on the racing line.
Yeah, almost a carbon copy of what we saw a few laps ago with Sam Sutton. Unfortunately, Harley did come over quite aggressively to avoid that 1X there, and I'm just not sure Jack Witter saw him coming out into that outside retaining wall and back across the track. Big accident there, and 2 fast cars out of the road.
Exactly, and that is in the mid-pack of the field as Corey Preston goes through on Wayne Hewitt right in the background. Still some side-by-side. Michaela has been pushed out by Borg and Smart. Both of them jump up a couple places, but another big accident there at the same piece of real estate, which is not going to be ideal for those drivers as they move on forward during this event. What I was going to say is Darren Lobb up into 10th place and Christian Smart and co. Here's some Noah's Ark racing 2 wide 2 deep, because here comes Corey Shepherd round the outside of Michaela, and Michaela moving backwards.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with Corey Shepherd. As I say, I haven't seen him in the Monday night or even heard his name before. To see him come out, he made that first lap mistake, but otherwise is showing some really, really good pace here at Watkins Glen. Super impressed with him.
Absolutely, and there is the bit of pace that he is showing. He's having a good run so far, despite the fact that he is down 3 positions from his grid slot today. He's been caught up in a couple of things here and there, but here comes Borgie trying to get by Christian Smart. So down the inside, looking, searching, finding there on the brake. Smart being smart and just sitting and waiting along. Now, the one thing that the Gone Road cars have to be worried about here, Burton, is fuel, because more often than not, they are the team that puts themselves right to the limit on the fuel numbers.
Yeah, that's it. I was actually about to make the same point about Jake Maloney up the front. Being in the draft around this track makes a massive difference. It's such a high average speed, meaning there's more and more air being punched by the car that you're following, meaning you have so much potential to save fuel. It can really, really change your pit stop strategy and save you seconds in the pits. We've seen that in V8 Scott basically every time we've gone here, as well as the Monday night races. If you can just hang behind someone, as Maloney's doing at the moment, just let them punch a hole in that air for you, save a little bit, lift off a little bit before every corner, you're going to save so much fuel and likely pull a few seconds in the lane.
Exactly. Oh, Damian Johnstone getting close to the wall on the outside of turn 3, but turns it into a great run here on Michael Rosenblatt, who defends hard here into the chicane, but Johnstone trying to go around the outside has got it horribly wrong. He's going to check up, and here will come Darren Lobb here in the DPR car to try and go around the outside to pick up the move at the carousel. So tough to get that done. There's Clint Shane Smith sitting and waiting, all nice and pretty. He had a very good pre-qualification to Scops to get to top split, and he'll be looking to try and get a great result here today. A top 10 just in a hand's reach.
Yeah, that's it, Sperry. Making top split is a sort of a big thing in its own around this circuit. There's so little corners, meaning you have to get the absolute most out of the car in order to get the lap time. So to make it into that top 40 at a track like this is really, really hard work. So they've got the pace, but as they come down towards turn 1, Darren Lobb has the inside, but he's going to run wide on the exit and parks the bus on Damian Johnson, who's going to lose another position to Clint Smith.
Yep, and Clint comfortably making the move then up the hill, and now will immediately try and run in the draft to get that move going forward towards 9th place, just like that. Side by side, those Christian Smart and Brian Borg going at it, and here will come Corey Shepherd looking here, his teammate just in front in the form of Brian Borg. You can see here just closing back in and just fall into line, why don't you? Not quite a place to get yourself there. You really need to be alongside at the apex to get a move done at that corner. Otherwise, you're just praying for mistake.
Yeah, that's it. You can make pretty big dive bombs at just about every corner on this track, Sperry, but the bus stop isn't one of them, unfortunately, because it goes right and left so quickly. You've really got to have a massive overlap into the right to get it done into the left.
Oh, and there is Damien Johnstone, who is back there with Clint Shane Smith, so he's looking to try and get himself going. He's done that at the penultimate corner, straight down the inside, late on the brakes, and got the move done there. A little bit of lift there from Clint, knowing that he wasn't really going to fight that one really too much. Keep an eye on Wayne Burke, though, for the moment, for 4th and 5th, has closed down the gap to Kurt Stenberg. He's done a really good job just chipping away a tenth at a time here and there, and that gap now down to what was 6/10 over the line, and now nice and close as they head towards the carousel.
Yeah, but you might have noticed, Sperry, coming into the bus stop just then, we saw a massive lift and coast from Wayne Burke. Now, obviously, fuel use is proportional to how much that butterfly and that throttle body's open. So if you can lift sort of 50 metres earlier in the tow, you're saving heaps of fuel. And I think Berkey's maybe thinking, I'm going to use Stenberg for a lap or two here, save some fuel, and I might be able to get a nice little undercut and put me into that lead battle.
Well, that's the key. The lead battle currently stands at nearly 3 seconds down the road, so finding 3 seconds of fuel to save might just be a very tall order indeed, as the leading three gone to lap 10 here of 43 in this event, and they look to try and push on and try and get themselves moving on with their race. Here comes once again on Brian Ball, Christian Smart, who again can't quite find the move into the 90 of turn number 1, trying to push up the hill. Behind that, you've got Henri Michaela, you've got Jose Miguel Galilea sitting there waiting, and you've also got Corey Preston trying to chase back down the group. He's doing time similar to the likes of Brian Borg in front, would love to gain up an extra 5 positions or so as they chase on towards the bus stop.
Yeah, that's it. Brian Borg is really impressive under brakes. It looks like he's set his car up a little bit more for turn-in and a little bit less for traction. He's really able to drive it deep, which means Christian Smart is actually a little bit quicker, I think. He just isn't able to get the move done because the move's got to be a real dive bomb with how good Brian is under brake.
Exactly, and Christian Smart is someone who only deals in absolutes. He wants an absolute chance to get the move, and again, you can see he lifts out, not confident enough to go to the inside, when maybe a driver who'd be a little bit more aggressive on track may have gone for that move, gone for the run. So that's where we're seeing Christian Smart's driving style. He's patient, who's cautious side coming out. He's not going to be someone who goes absolutely aggressive for it. Here looks Wayne Burke once again trying to get into the mix right now. Look how close he is here. He's tucked up underneath, but is he going to try and maybe look for a move? He's lifting out already. He is firmly in the fuel safe paint.
Yeah, that's it, Sperry. See, I don't think it's totally unprecedented for him to be able to gain a few seconds in pit lane here. With the amount that he's saving, it's not entirely impossible, especially if he can grab some tyres a bit earlier than that front pack. I think he could certainly work his way in there. Kurt Stenberg isn't slow, so I think this is a really well-played strat by Berkey. At very least, he's going to guarantee himself P4.
Well, he's doing well. We've also got this battle right down at the back of the field for 20th position here in this race. 19th and 20th, this is Samuel Collins and Greg Sharp. They find themselves 25 seconds, or at this point in time, you would say here, Burton, a whole pit stop behind where they need to be.
Yeah, that's it. But these guys, of course, they didn't have the best quality. They were back towards the back of the field, and they've already made some tidy profits after some of the first lap and second lap incidents we saw. You know, these guys up 7 and 8 positions respectively. So I think these guys are just enjoying the fact that they're out here driving around a beautiful circuit in these cars and have made some nice places.
Exactly, and it's all about position. Here looks Corey Preston trying to get past Jose Miguel Galilea up the hill through the right. He comes along hoping that the next place is going to be key through the left, and using all of the curbs. Preston in the Exto Gaming car trying to make that move to the inside, and well, here comes Corey Preston. He'll look to the inside, it's given away. Galilea Figaro, that's a place.
Yeah, that's it. And Corey's been looking reasonably quick. Obviously got slowed down in the earlier stages. So his eyes will now be moving forward to the pack of Michaela, Shepherd, Smart and Borg. I think he's definitely got the pace for him. Unfortunately, the next lot of cars down the road are quite a long way away.
Exactly, and that is the key. It's all about the next group of cars. Preston can catch Michaela and Shepherd and Smart and Borg, but the group in front of that, Smith, Johnstone, Lobb, and you could say Rosenblatt to an extent, that's 5 extra seconds down the road. Needs a lot of battling and too wide action to really cost that, as Johnstone is actually starting to look a little bit more aggressive here, trying to get the move done. Not quite in a position just yet to make that happen, but Darren Lobb has lost contact to Michael Rosenblatt to the tune of 1.4 seconds. This could be where Damian Johnstone strikes.
Yeah, he's definitely got the run, and Lobb doesn't quite have the toe. He's going to pull to the inside. Pretty much when you've got the inside, the outside's got to yield, but he's going to drive it in deep. They're going to try the too wide thing. Johnson gives the room, but gets the move done. Good compliance by both those guys. You don't normally go in there too wide without contact, but plenty of room given.
Absolutely, and some great car control between both drivers. Keep an eye out on Jordan Caruso in 3rd position. It's lap 14 of 43 right now, and the key here for Jordan Caruso is to just stay in range right now. The gap is just over a second. It's clicked between Down and Maloney. Maloney struggling on that last lap through, doing a 109 flat to a 108.9 compared to Madison Down. Jordan Caruso's just got to stay in a range. Remember, Madison Down has been out there at the front using all of his fuel, all of his tyres. Maybe someone like Jordan Caruso, who's been tucked up behind Maloney at around 3 to 5 tenths of a second the entirety of the race, could be best placed to jump a second or two in the stops.
Yeah, that's it. And of course, looking at the ERT situation, one of our other series regulars, Cooper Webster, left that team this week and actually went and joined the Altus Esports squad. So of course, that's a big loss for ERT in terms of their supercar program. Cooper was really coming along, but they're very resilient. And this is Jordan Caruso's opportunity to perhaps say, hey, I'm #1 driver in this team now. Let's see what I can do. And he wants to take it to the TTR pair.
And the whole point about Evolution Racing Team, really, Burton, is development of young drivers. You've got Jordan Caruso there, who does very well. Luke Pink looks like he's going to be an incredibly hot prospect. They've still got Ethan Griggolt in the numbers. They've still got Ian Ford in the numbers. They've still got people there who can help mentor these drivers up to the level that they can. It's just a case of these drivers just need to reach that level, and they're not going to get there right now, but maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, we could see ERT really with that strong resurgence, and it's all about the process if they're talking about it. ERT very much in the Philadelphia 76ers philosophy of building a sim racing team.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're a Williams. I don't think they're a feeder team. They certainly can challenge up the front, and I think more my point was with Jordan Caruso, he's had the likes of Cooper Webster, he's had the like of Ethan and Ian, and the likes of Jared Filsol, really some of the best guys that we've ever seen pilot these supercars, teaching him and mentoring him, and now his opportunity perhaps is here to say, I'm #1, let's see, I can beat Maloney, I can beat Madison.
It's all checking up behind Brian Borg. He was having to defend, and look at Preston down the inside. Oh, that's clumsy. There as Michaela gets dumped to the outside of the carousel. The gap was presented. Galilea's going to pick one up as well for the troubles there, but Corey Preston going for the gap down the inside. The door was left open, but did Preston, 2 tyres over the yellow line trying to get that one done.
Yeah, that is a legitimate passing spot for sure, but Corey just wasn't there. Regardless of how much of the car he had on the inside of the track, he wasn't even at the B pillar. That just wasn't on for sure. So that's a bump pass. Fortunately, Henry was rather able to gather it up and only lose 2 spots. But yeah, not the cleanest move we've seen from Corey Preston.
And here comes Wayne Hewitt now trying to capitalise on Henri Michaela. Up the hill, through the right they come along, and using the outside track, you can get that to work because there is a little bit of help there, but ultimately you lose all the run through the next left to turn 3, and up the hill Wayne Hewitt will now have the run, will move to the inside of the circuit to try and get this move done, and this should be pass scored and complete, unless Michaela's really good on the brakes around the outside, which he is, but then again trying the outside. They're really holding each other up now. Little wiggle from Michaela, side by side all the way through the carousel here, Burton. Move done.
Glen
Move scored
really
complete.
slows you down.
It really does, and that's move scored complete there as Wayne Hewitt gets it just behind Henri Michael. A good save there, Burton, as that move was battling along with. So that is a very good hold from Michael, as someone who needed to hold that position after staving off places. Keep an eye on Madison down, though, here. 1.2 seconds down the road. He's inching away in this race.
Yeah, that's it. He's almost broken that toe for Jake Maloney. Obviously, Jordan Caruso is sitting in a good spot with how he's been able to save fuel. But based on the fact that Maloney has dropped off, I don't think Maloney's doing much fuel saving at the moment. Although I don't think Madison Down actually is either. But I think it's looking better and better for Jordan Caruso to maybe to be the one who's able to challenge Madison Down. But I think Madison's just doing one of his classic control races. This is quite a high-risk track. And there is a wall at the top of the S's down at turn 3 that we actually named after Madison a few years ago because he had a tendency to crash into it when he was in the race lead. So fingers crossed he can't do that tonight.
Well, of course, a few years ago, you've had a few years of development. You know the pitfalls of the track, and these sim races get better and better and better. And while we talk about Madison Down being a 10-time winner when it comes to this season, that includes this one, you have to remember Madison isn't necessarily the oldest driver in the field, not by a long stretch. You talk about how Madison, in terms of his age, he's actually one of the younger drivers in that crop of drivers like Jared Filsell, Josh Rogers and co, who can still challenge competitively for the next 20-25 years.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously Madison's been around a long time, but he is still young, as you say. He's got experience behind him. Maloney, again, been doing this a long time now. In terms of this front 3, Jordan Caruso is the far less experienced. But looking back to Clint Smith, as you see, looks like he might have had a bit of a go, but couldn't quite get it done.
Well, he's got it done now, because there went Darren Lobb very, very wide, and that was exactly what he wanted there, did Clint Shane Smith. He wants to get down the inside, spook out there Darren Lobb, who was later on the brakes, missed his marker because of Smith on the inside, and ultimately runs wide and costs him the position. That is some very clever driving from Clint Smith, and that's what we call in the business a forced error.
Yeah, that's it, Sperry, and I've just noticed that Wayne Burke has come down into the lane. Like we said, save
Maloney
some
and
fuel,
Madison.
get on a bit of an undercut strat. I think he fell too far behind to do anything, but Madison down in as well. Obviously, he doesn't want to get undercut either. He wants to keep some track position, so that's why he's opted for the early pit stop.
Well, that is both Trans-Tasman cars and Wayne Burke then in, along with Clint Shane Smith and Corey Shepherd, to go and make their stop. So they'll be looking to get out and away very, very soon as Galileo goes to Narnia as he goes sailing a little bit through the corner. And look at this, coming out for the lane. Oh, it's a jump. It's a jump by Maloney on Madison Down. That's magical.
There's a lot of fuel saving that's gone on there from Maloney. Unless Madison's got something wrong, Maloney's done a good job to get that fuel saved and to get the race lead. Madison's going to come at him pretty much straight away, though. Big run up the top of the S's. Maloney's going to defend. Madison's going to have to do it the hard way. I'd say he's probably going to pull out of this one. Going around the outside there is a hard ask and does so.
Well, he couldn't quite get it done, so now he's got to work hard to make the place. He pulled out a second, but only a second over the course of this race. Caruso has stayed out, though, and that's key. So as he tries to get going, Adam Briggs is pulled off at turn number 1. He was trying to get the car working again. Ultimately hasn't. In comes Kurt Stenberg then to come in and make his stop. He's needing to cover off Wayne Burke, who he was fighting with even at that point in time. So now Stenny has got to be really worried about, okay, haven't been fuel saving at all, maybe I'm going to get jumped.
Yeah, I think he'll quite comfortably get jumped by Wayne Burke. Berkey with a one-lap undercut as well as the fuel save. But we'll have a look here. It looks like Stenberg's down, but yeah, comfortably rounded up by Berkey. So a big fuel save there. I have to be honest, I'm not sure why Caruso didn't pit last lap and do a first lap response there, especially with Maloney and Madison battling each other on the outlap there. It would have been a bit of a no-brainer for me, and he's going to go around it again. I'm not too sure. He must be really confident in how much fuel he's saved to maybe get a few laps tyre overcut here. Perhaps he's taking a leaf out of the Ian Ford book.
Yeah, that overcut's going to be key as in comes Michael Taliancic then in car number 6 from second position on the road. He gives that second place then to his teammate Tom Freer as he looks down the lane and looks for a very good run of things. In will also come Corey Preston looking to make a stop. And a very egregious line by Henri Michael using all of the yellow line to go down onto the lane. If anybody's told him that you're not going to get an unsafe pit entry for that, well, now would be the time to do so.
Yeah, that's it. You can get caught out here, especially on the exit. You're trying to put the power down and it gets really tight, and that commitment line comes up on you real quick. I'd be really curious to see if Jordan Caruso makes a stop this time by. We know the drop-off after lap 1 is about 2/10, so we're expecting to see him probably get a 3 or 4/10 overcut for the first couple laps at least, and we know he's saved some fuel. So really, I'd want him to be pitting as soon as possible.
Here comes Madison, though. It's going to be a chance down the inside. Will Maloney let him have it? On the brakes, yes, he does. So he was really, really lenient there. Waiting. No issues between the teammates. Madison down up the place and gets it done. And this is the key as well. That's not a change done by, for example, team orders. Yes, Madison down is the team boss. Yes, he's the champion in waiting. But Jake Maloney will want that win more than anybody else, and he will sit and he will wait and he will hope that he has a chance to get back at Madison later on.
Yeah, that's it. And also the thing is, these guys are coming around the last corner, so we're about to find out. But if Maloney made that too difficult for Madison, that would have gifted the race lead to Caruso. But it looks like with the undercut, they're going to have him pretty well stitched up here. Caruso going to end up pretty much as far behind as what he was before. However, now with 3 laps newer tyres, although I don't honestly think that was the smartest move. He had a fuel advantage. I don't know why he didn't just pit on the same lap.
Well, that's going to be something that maybe we can have a look at later on in this race to see whether that was the right or the wrong decision. Tom Freer comes out of the pit, as does Michael Rosenblatt, and this is key for Rosenblatt's strategy here. He's come out right alongside Clint Shane Smith, and Damian Johnstone going long has fallen right out behind the likes of Smart, Preston and Shepherd.
Yeah, that's it. It's been quite interesting in this race amongst this mid-pack. Corey Preston, other than that little incident he had, I believe it was with Henry, earlier in the race. He's actually had a reasonably good run over the last few laps. Managed to come through the field quite well, and now it's Corey v. Corey for P15.
Absolutely is. Brian Borg now takes the race lead as Darren Lobb comes in, and look at this from Preston down the inside of the carousel. Shepherd's got no run off the exit. Little bit of tyres in the grass ain't going to help much. And now Christian Smart's going to have the run hard to the inside to try and get this done at turn number 7. But on the brakes, a lot of a wider line taken there by Corey Shepherd. He really hangs it in and holds the place off for the time being. Through the final corner, he's compromised, and he gets himself a nice block going through that section. Smart's got to look at the 90.
Yeah, that's it. These guys quite tight in the mid-pack here. Christian Smart having a look down the inside and is going to have it almost done. Feeds him out a little bit wide in the exit. We've got cars coming out of the lane too. But nice and clear on exit, but now we're too wide up the hill between Shepherd and Johnston, and Shepherd's going to keep that position.
And Damian Johnstone there doing good enough to just stay behind, but will now try and use his teammate for a little bit of help going up the hill, trying to get this one to the inside. Are you going to be brave here, Damian? Nope, can't be so. Through that section, has to play the waiting game just a little bit longer. Keep an eye out on Caruso's times in his first flyer. Madsen down 108.483, 108.6 for Maloney, 108.5 for Caruso. Not chasing down Madsen down enough, but he's within 1.1 seconds here of Jake Maloney. He needs to get within that toe range, that draft range, where it gives himself the best possible opportunity.
Yeah, I still don't think that was the right call, Sperry. Looking at the lap times, the last 3 before he pitted was a 9.2, a 9 flat, and a 9 flat. Maloney was doing 8.1, 8.8, and 8.6 on those same laps. Madison 8 flat, 8.3, 8.4. So there's your 1 second. So pitting that 3 laps later, although the overcut may work later in the race, he's really shot himself in the foot in terms of track position.
Well, he's now got to work hard. He's got to pass Maloney and pass Madsen down if he wants a race victory overall then in this event. We haven't had many retirements in a while, but our retirements, Andrew Dyson, Sam Sutton, Rob Bowden, Steve Janssen, Jack Widders, Harley Haber, Nathan Moore, and Adam Briggs. Your retirement so far from this race today. We are down to 20 runners in this field, which goes from the top all the way down to the bottom at this moment in time. Briggs is actually back out on circuit here, but he is running around 15 laps down, trying to save as much iRacing and safety rating as he possibly can at this point here, Burton.
Yeah, that's it, of course, Sparrow, as he's just driven straight through the chicane. Interestingly, as I just crossed Adam Briggs there, he's just gone straight through the bus stop chicane, but which also means promotion and potentially demotion time for your iRacing license. So these guys will be wanting to get as much SR as they can if they had first lap incidents. But taking a look at our lead pack, last time by it was a 108.7 from Maloney to 108.6 from Madison with a 108.4 from Caruso. So Caruso's definitely in that draft train now. That overcut is paying dividends, but the issue is he's got 2 cars to pass.
And he will be using up his tyres a lot more over the course of this stint compared to the other drivers in front. Remember, he'll be driving aggressively to chase down time, and that's going to be where it costs him over the course of this race. Here's another battle on track. Henri Michaela and Greg Sharp going at it for 16th place. Greg Sharp up 10 places so far today in this race as Brian Borg departs and gives Madison down back to race lead.
Yeah, that's it. So the field is now cleansed, so that means everyone has made their pit stops now. So reset order, it's pretty well the same in terms of the top 5 that we've seen from the start of the race. But we do have some movers and shakers. So Clint Smith up 6 spots. I think Darren Lobb and Christian Smart are the best 2 at the moment, up, 9 and 12 respectively.
And it could be more as Brian Ball comes out of the pits behind Damien Johnstone, and that will mean that they'll get another place. So that puts Darren Lobb now up 10 and Christian Smart up 13 places in this race at the moment. Johnstone still stuck behind Shepherd. Smart falling away from Lobb, falling away from Preston right now. The gaps are starting to show here in this race, and the close one is for second right now. Look how much that Jordan Caruso has closed down on Jake Maloney. If he wants to get the move done, he's got to get it done now, or he risks losing 1 second here to Madison down, having to do the work all over again. Big lunge down into the 90. Has he got it checked up? No, he hasn't, and he's gone in too deep. There's the inexperience.
Yeah, that's it. It was a big move, and it was one that I think he had to make, but probably would have been better off to get a slightly better run and have a crack into the bus stop. In saying that, with his teammate in the lead, Maloney wouldn't have made it easy, and you can certainly defend around this track quite easily. But yeah, Caruso, he has got a 3-lap tyre advantage, so he still should have the pace to get past Maloney, but he just can't afford to let Madison break the.
Well, that's the key. He can't afford the draft to be broken. And when you're making moves like that and you're putting drivers in front of you in suboptimal positions here, Burton, surely that is really not what he wants. If you're going to make a move and you're going to try and run through the train, you have to make moves cleanly and decisively. Yes, the move was clean that he tried to make, but by no means was it decisive.
Yeah, that's it. I think it was just a little bit of overconfidence. He could see how fast he was relative to Maloney. Had a big go and couldn't make it stick. Let's see if he has another crack this time. He has got enough of a run. He might be close enough with a bomb, but Maloney shows a bit. Oh, he's too deep. He's going to hit. Awesome driving from Maloney there. I have to say, I was watching the apex there, and Maloney actually opened the steering to give Caruso room. Awesome bit of awareness from Jake Maloney, and so fortunate those two didn't touch.
How on earth have they not come together? We've seen 2 massive incidents from the 90 and onwards, and Jordan Caruso now is just getting very, very bogged down and frustrated behind Jake Maloney. And this is one of the characteristics with Trans-Tasman racing drivers. They are some of the toughest drivers in sim racing to go and overtake, because they know pretty much better than most drivers how to place a car around a track to go and defend.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm not too sure why that overcut took place. Like, Caruso saved so much fuel behind those two. The potential for track position was huge, and this is such a hard track to pass at. You would think not with the long straights and the big braking zones and corners, but it's just so easy to defend around here. So I think that's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered in terms of Madison Down. That is draft now broken. It's a 1.4 second lead that lap by. So I think even if Caruso manages to get this move done, his chance at the win, assuming a mistake-free rest of the race for Madison, is pretty much gone.
Well, there are still a number of laps to go. We've got ourselves 14 laps when they cross the start-finish line. And look at Maloney having to defend this one now, heading into the chicane. On the brakes, nose to tail as they go through, and looking every which way to try and find a place. It's so tough to sight the braking zone here in these vehicles with the high bonnets that these vehicles have. So for Jordan Caruso, he sits, he waits, and again, he will be stuck behind looking for a move. We have seen a change of position as Shepherd let through on the last lap. Brian Borg, he's already on the back of Damien Johnstone. He's on the freshest tyres of anybody else. The Uber overcut is coming, and here comes Borgie to the inside to pick this one up on Damien Johnstone. No argy-bargy.
Yeah, easy move there for Borg. I believe that's, what, a lap 26 pit stop for Borg compared to a lap 22 or 21 even stop for Johnston. So there's a huge discrepancy in tyres there. So Borg is probably going to go forward and maybe even catch the likes of Smart. But again, looking up to the front, last lap by 9.3 from Caruso, 9.2 from Maloney, 9 flat for Madison. So that's a 1.6 second lead now. So time is running out for Jordan Caruso.
Absolutely it is. He's got to dispatch and dispatch quickly. This is a chess track, some would say. You've got to plan your moves. You've got to strategize how you maneuver your opponent in front into the position that is there. The one thing you want to do is put the opponent in a position which he least wants to make. And that is what Jordan Caruso has not been doing at the moment, because Jake Maloney wants to defend at this moment. He knows where his teammate is. It's got to be swift. It's got to be like a samurai sword at this moment for Jordan Caruso. And he's very much not had that opportunity to really make a move decisive. Maloney will fight for every bit of ground.
Yeah, that's it. And of course, these two have come to know each other quite a bit over this season. They've fairly consistently been battling one another sort of for the 4th, 5th, 3rd position in the races. So Maloney, I think, is just playing Caruso a little bit at the moment. Make it difficult for him. Like I said, extremely hard track to pass. You can defend so easily. And I think Maloney knows his competitor. He knows the track well. He's just using the track position to make it impossible for Caruso. And again, last lap by 9.1 for Caruso, 9.2 for Maloney, 9 flat for Down. It's now 1.8 seconds.
Well, that's where it's starting to hurt, and hurt a lot. Remember that Down and Maloney came together at the same time, and Maloney is probably going to be in a position where he might need to save a little bit of fuel come towards the end, because of the second that he managed to chase. He wasn't fully in the draft of Madison Down. He was at no stage Burton really tucked up underneath. He would be stuck around 8/10, and you would say really at around 8/10 of a second that it's really tough to chase that down. You pretty much stay in a holding pattern. You can use the draft to close right up, or you can try and save only a tiny bit to keep the gap the same.
Yeah, Maloney obviously did pretty well in the lane because he actually jumped Madison Down by about a second. But the thing is Jordan Caruso should have been easily the best off in the pits. But unfortunately, that overcut has just cost him so much in terms of track position that any grasp he has of leading this race is just completely out the window. So Madison Down, again, last lap by 9.3 Caruso, 9.2 Maloney, 9 flat Madison. So that's now nearest makes no difference, 2 seconds. So this race is pretty well over as long as Madison Down doesn't make a mistake.
We've got some good battles going on throughout the field. Michael Taliancic is trying to close down Kurt Stenberg. The gap is down to 8/10 of a second with Tom Freer 1.1 in the distance behind. Those drivers will be trying to chase down a top 5 finish here today. That one could come together in the final stages. We also had a bit of side-by-side between Henri Michaela and Greg Sharp. All that battling is allowing Sam Collins to jump back into this race here for those drivers. 16th, 17th and 18th out on track.
Yeah, that's it. Good battles throughout the field. I think chances are the best fight that we may end up seeing. It looks like it's tightened up the last few laps. I think Tom Freer and Mike Taliancic seem to have had the measure for Kurt Stenberg over the last few laps.
Caruso's dropped 1.4 seconds at the final corner. How has this happened? He caught the grass on entry, trying to take all of the road, gets a big wiggle, trying to get the car going, big understeer, and ultimately, there goes the 1 second. Any chance of even second now looks like a long haul.
Yeah, the thing is when you make a mistake like that, as well, as we know, Sperry, you hurt these rear tyres, and with so many big acceleration zones at this track, all that overcut that Caruso had is now going to be gone with how much he's taken out of those rears. So I think our front three is likely to stay pretty stagnant throughout the rest of the race. Wayne Burke sitting on a bit of an island at the moment in P4, but as I say, Stenberg, Taliancic and Freer likely to end up compressing a little bit. 9.2 for Freer, 9.3 for Taliancic and 9.3 for Stenberg. They have started to tighten up a little bit, but Stenny's sitting pretty good in P5 at the moment.
Absolutely, he is right now. It's all about gaps which are about 1.5 seconds at the moment. You've got the gap between Lobb, Smart and Borg, for example, right now, which is about 1 second between each of them, equidistant split, where it's just a case of no driver really is in a position to go out there and push ahead of one driver here, one driver there. Every driver is stuck in this holding pattern, it seems, at this moment in time, where they just cannot break through the glass ceiling that is up in front of them.
Yeah, that's it. The difficult thing, Sparrow, is this is such a hard track. You would think it's not to actually race on, but it is. You've got so many long straights, so many drafting opportunities, and so many big braking zones to go for a move. But the thing is it's such an easy circuit to defend. You can just sit on the white line, balk the guy at the apex, and then get a good run onto the next straight. It's so easy to defend here. So getting positions done is actually quite difficult unless you got sort of a 2 or 3 tenths advantage.
And well, let's just take a little look over to the final week of the iRacing calendar. Monday night is the last of the official races before week 13 events starts to come into full fruition. And well, Burton, Mount Panorama Bathurst, a track which needs no introduction. It's the home of Australian sim racing, and on top of all of that, it produces wonderful action. You've got so many great places to overtake, and then you've got that fabled run up and down the mountain.
Yeah, that's it. It's a beautiful circuit, Sperry. I don't believe you've been there in real life, but Jay, our producer, I've been there and been lucky enough to race there, and many of our viewers would have been there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful circuit. I'm so lucky to have such an accurate laser scanned version here on iRacing, and being able to race the current rendition of the Supercar around there as well is such a pleasure for everyone. So really hoping that we get a mega race next week, because it looks like it might have fizzled up a little bit up the front here.
It's getting close, though, for 6th and 7th. 2 pursuit cars who started in opposite positions. So that was Taliancic starting 7th, Freer in 6th. They are 6th and 7th swapped. So it's the green car ahead of the blue one, both pursuit. But look at this. Tom Freer is visibly closing through every corner.
Yeah, that's it, and this is what Kurt Stenberg wants to see, because these guys were actually managing to match him a few laps ago. Stenny has pulled a bit of a margin, but if these two can start to sort of, you know, hinder each other a little bit, that'll add a little bit of safety there for Stenberg. So I think looking like we're going to end up 3 TTR cars in the top 5, which is pretty cool.
We've also seen a position change in the background. Henri Michaela is finally through on Greg Sharp up into 16th place. That one happening up the hill in towards the chicane without too many dramas about it. So Tom Freer just sitting and waiting behind his teammate, and technically team boss Michael Taliancic has got to be careful about the way that he tries to get a position done. But we're in the late stages now. You can't really take too many more liberties just to wait.
Yeah, that's it. Tom Freer and Taliancic, they were really lucky to have stayed out of some of the first lap shenanigans, and have actually stayed nice and straight. So why not have a go now? You've got a few laps left to go. You've got a teammate you can safely fight with. Have a go and have some fun.
Absolutely, and have some fun. That's the big key of sim racing, remember, Burton. A lot of drivers get all caught up in the fact that my race didn't go the way I wanted to, and I made contact with you, and this, that, and the other. The first principle of sim racing is it should be fun.
Yeah, that's it. And I think enjoyment actually drives competitiveness as well. I know myself, if I'm not enjoying the laps that I'm driving, I'm not as motivated to continue practicing and actually improve. And I know for Madison Down, for example, he's really enjoyed running in the Monday Night Series this season because it has been a bit of a challenge for him. I know he probably expected to jump in and just wipe the floor, but a few of his races, it hasn't been the easiest championship for him. So a challenge for Madison has really helped him develop over the season, and obviously got his first, well, one of his first Scots wins of the season last night. So really hopes your motivation.
It certainly does help your motivation. I think a lot of drivers will be hoping just for a little bit more come the end of this race. There are 6 laps to go at this moment in time as they go on to lap 38 of 43 here today at Watkins Glen. It's been a long slog of a race for quite a few drivers, but now it's all about making sure that those final laps are just like the first. The concentration level's still up, even when you're battling with nobody and you're driving all on your own, really, Burton. How easy is it for you to lose concentration late in an event?
Yeah, that's it. Especially at a high-speed track like this, Sperry, you can make so many mistakes. Tom Freer, awfully close to the wall at the top of the hill. You got to make sure you have your avocado on toast for breakfast. You do all your preparations for this race. Make sure that you're really switched on. 43 laps is an incredibly long race at such a high-speed track like this, where one mistake can land you in the fence.
Absolutely, one mistake can and one mistake has done over the course. Now look at Christian Smart all of a sudden. He's come out of nowhere to close down the gap to Darren Lobb, who's looking really like he's got to be careful behind. He dropped 2/10 that last lap by and slightly wide through the chicane, able to gather it back up on exit. But remember, the car behind them has the freshest tyres of anybody. That's Brian Ball.
Yeah, that's it. Darren Lobb, obviously these two here are our biggest 2 movers and shakers of the race. They're stoked to be up 10 and 13 positions, and they'd like to make sure it doesn't end up 9 and 12. So these two, I think, just trying to keep it straight, make no mistakes. They've only got 5 laps to go, but Borg, with his pace advantage, 9.5 last lap, 9.5 for all of them just about, but on average has been quite a bit quicker. So I think they just need to make no mistakes and make sure they consolidate the awesome race runs they've had so far.
Exactly, they've come up through the back of the field. They've had a little bit of help in this race by big incidents in this one, which have wiped out a whole total of cars. 8 of them have retired here today from the 28 cars. There's 27 splits all the way down, but some great racing has been going on today, and the likes of Christian Smart trying to chase down Darren Lobb. Ultimately, it's going to take a couple of laps before he gets himself positioned. Needs to be within about 3/10 if he wants to get this done. The gap across the lap is half a second, but look at Tom Freer. Talking about 3/10 of a second, he is right on the money with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, that's it. Tom Freer, as I say, he was closing up to Taliancic. The thing that Taliancic actually has at the moment, Kurt Stenberg, although he's quite safe in terms of being caught by Mike T, is just towing him along. He's sort of within that draft range, or it's about a second, that Tom Freer actually can't attack on the straights because Taliancic is actually being pulled along.
And that's the key here. Michael Taliancic is covering off his teammate and doing a fantastic job of doing so right now. And that's where the experience comes in, through the right, left of the chicane and trying to put the power down on the exit. It's going to be a lot of curb there for Michael Taliancic. You can use the incident, so to speak, but you don't get many. We haven't talked about it here today because this is a track where you don't often pick up instant points. 17 instant points you get from that towards a drive-through penalty. Anything after that, 25 instant points. See you later, your race is done.
Yeah, that's it. I think a big thing for Tom Freer is his ability to get up the hill. That turn 2 and 3 section resembles a little bit of a piece of spaghetti up the hill there. He really just wants to get the run. He hasn't been able to do it the last few laps. He seems to be getting a bit of understeer at the top of the hill, which is hindering his run up towards the S's there. So I think this lap by, if Tom Freer can get a nicer run up the S's here, he might be able to get something done in the bus stop.
Well, that's going to be the key. Can he find the move that gets himself up there? And at the moment, he definitely doesn't, with a bit of grass to go through turn 3 to boot to get an extra bit of rotation. On for 9th and 10th, though, here at the moment. Here comes Corey Preston. He's caught the back of Clint Shane Smith. Here, car 8 versus car 24. Through the left-hand corner, up the hill they go. And again, that gap of about 5 car lengths it is at the moment. It will be closed down to about 4, but Corey Preston just sitting in the Exto Gaming car, hoping, yes, the next position could be mine if I can get it done in the next 2 and a bit laps.
Yeah, a bit of a recovery drive for Preston. He was involved in a few dramas on the first couple of laps, and he did pit, I believe, on lap 21. Clint Smith pitting on lap 19, so he's got a couple laps tyre advantage as well, and obviously Preston a little bit out of position here, so he should be able to get this move done fairly easy as we come towards 2 to go. A good run through the last corner will mean he gets it done down at turn 1.
Well, he'll be hoping to try and find it. Here we go on the power. Gets a storming run here, and he gets himself early to the right-hand side. And does Clint lift off here? Yes, he does. Lets Corey Preston have the place. Knows he's quicker and decides, you know what? I've got a top 10 in the bank. I'm 4 seconds clear of Darren Lobb. That is the best thing possible for my race.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, looks like Brian Borg hasn't been able to make any inroads on those next 2. He's used the best of those tyres to get some of those moves done. So I think that race there has sizzled a little bit as well. Taliancic as well fallen off Stenberg. Tom Freer still looking close, but we're coming up to 1 to go. It's about time to get Bing Bang Boggity Boo, boys.
It absolutely is. Madison Down starts the final lap with 3.5 seconds margin over Jake Maloney. They're in second position in this race. It's still on for 6th and 7th between the 2 pursuit teammates who will be trying to pick up as many places as they can between each other. Freer nice and late on the brakes, but can he put the power down? He's the closest he's been for a very long time. Needs a good run here up through the right of 2. Absolutely gets it. Now through 3. Has he got the run? Yes, and now through 4. Is it enough to close down? Slightly running wide there. No, I don't think it is, as he tried to go through. It was close, 0.3 of a second going on to the final lap. Needs a mistake from the teammate. Cannot find it at the moment through the chicane. So now it's all about that carousel. But for Madison Down, it is the title in the back pocket. James Scott did not turn up for this race, did not participate, and ultimately pretty much sealed and delivered the championship. It's 10 times, 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 10 times. Madison Down, the champion.
Yeah, outstanding achievement. As we said at the start of the broadcast, not many people can say they've won 1 championship in iRacing, let alone 10. That's extremely impressive, as well as his 1 V8 Scops title to go with it. Also, it should be mentioned, that is a large gap between championships as well, because I believe the last one that Madison Down won might have been 2013 S4, if I'm not incorrect. So it's been a long time between drinks in terms of the official series for Madison Down, but congratulations to him.
Big incident. John Stone getting smashed as he runs out of fuel by Corey Shepherd there, who did not get to the inside quick enough. John Stone will lose that place, but a big smash to end the race. Sam Collins is going to have a drag race with Greg Sharp, and it will be Greg Sharp who wins it. But dramas right towards the end. Wayne Hewitt and Jose Miguel Galilea having a scrap as well. Galilea goes hard to defend. Hewitt can't get it over the line.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of guys cutting it close on fuel. Unfortunately, all of those leaders managed to do quite well, but I noticed Jake Maloney actually dropped off a lot in the last few laps, so we know he saved a lot in the pit lane compared to Madison Down, so I'd say he might have just played a bit of a conservation game in those last few laps to make sure he didn't run out as well. But all in all, hell of a race, Sperry, and congrats to Madison Down for another title.
Exactly. Madison Down then, confirmation of results, wins in 50 minutes and 8 seconds and wins by 3.8 over Jake Maloney, with Jordan Caruso there in the number 12 car finishing home in 3rd. The overcut did not work. Wayne Burke gets 4th position at 4 places in the race, with Kurt Stenberg a top 5 from where he started, and the 2 pursuit cars changing places. Taliancic finishing ahead of Tom Freer. Michael Rosenblatt, a quiet race, up 5 places to 8 overall, with Corey Preston having his fair share of dramas, coming home in 9th, with Clint Shane Smith rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, that's it. And over the page we go to some of our, I think, pretty impressive drives. Darren Lobb up 10 spots, and Christian Christian Smart up 13. So awesome result for those two guys, as well as Brian Borg up 9 spots. These guys really profiting off some of the incidents and just driving clean races in 11th, 12th and 13th. Corey Shepherd, we saw have that big moment coming towards the line with Damien Johnston in 14th. Henry Michaela with some big incidents earlier in the race managed to get away with 15th. Greg Sharp also drove a sort of clean race, no mistakes, up 10 to finish 16th. Samuel Collins and Jose Miguel Galea as well, also up quite a few spots, with Wayne Hewitt and Damien Johnson losing 6 spots running up towards the line there in P20.
And now we hit retirement central. All of these drivers did not make it home. Adam Briggs, Rob Bowden, Nathan Moore, Harley Haber in there, Jack Widders, Steve Jansen, Sam Sutton, and Andrew Dyson, all finding the retirement shelf over the course of racing here today. But more importantly than that, Burton, week 12, Mount Panorama, you can't ask for a better end to a championship.
Yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, with the iRacing drop round system, pretty much all results in terms of the championship is just about over, which means you're going to see the likes of Madison Down, the likes of Jake Maloney. We may even see Richard Hampstead pop back, and we're going to have all these guys at one of the, I guess, biggest tracks in terms of Australian and world motorsport come out and have nothing to lose, which is a really, really exciting concept. I'm keen to see some mega racing there to end off our season.
I am as well, and the only place you can catch that is here on the iRacing Esports Network. The road to 50,000 subscribers goes through here. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if you're brand new to iRacing to see all of the great sim racing action that comes along, not only from us at SimSpeed TV, but all of the partners of the iRacing Esports Network, RaceBot TV, Apex Racing TV, the likes, of course, of the Global Sim Racing Channel and Podium Esports. But a massive thanks to Motum Simulations, who have been on the replays for us once again. From Jake Kennedy on the cameras and Jake Burton alongside me, I've been Jake Sperry. Title number 10 for Madison Down. It's been a long time coming, a long wait between them, but now he can finally say that he stands on top of the world once more. And to crown it all off, he can have a nice Monday drive when it comes to Mount Panorama. The home of Australian Motorsports becomes the end of your Monday night V8 season. You do not want to miss it. It promises to be a spectacle.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?